This is September 16th. CAD 212, part 2 of today's lecture. We're going to start again where we left off in regards to laying out sheets. Where we left off, we were looking at this sheet and what we need to do to actually make sure this sheet actually looks correct. Another thing that you'll notice on here that I didn't do is this. You never want to turn in these sheets unless they're renderings in color. We always want to make sure that these are set to hidden lines. So in order to correct this, I'm going to go back to my site and I'm going to change my visual style to hidden lines. If I jump back to my sheet, go back to project browser, open up that spread right there, and then jump into the sheet.
Share screen isn't working.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
I thought you were just talking about it at first. I didn't.
Oh no, always, yeah, tell me like, hey, you forgot to do this. Better? Can y'all see it now?
Yeah, I guess.
Cool, okay, good. All right, so where we left off was actually creating the sheet and making it look how it's supposed to. One of the things that we just indicated is that the sheet should not be set to a rendered view, any type of color. This should always be set to hidden lines. So from here, I'm going to jump back into my site plan view. And I'm going to go down to my visual styles. Away. And set that to hidden lines. So when I jump back into my sheet, that's now set to hidden lines. Another thing that you notice on here is we have the elevation markers that are showing up, which we don't want to. And actually the scale of this is a little small. We can actually scale this up a little bit more. And as we start scaling this up, you'll notice that these start moving back as well. So before you do anything else, the first thing you'd want to do is go ahead and check the scale of this. You're going to click on the inside of that view box and make it active. It's active because I can see the outline of it. When I make that active and I come over to my properties, you'll see I now have a view scale of 1 inch equals 20 foot. It's also the same down here. It automatically populates that scale for you, 1 inch equals 20 foot. So let's actually scale it up a little bit and see what happens. And I'm going to scale it up one more. Let's see if that's actually too big. Notice how it's bleeding. It's going to be bleeding into my title block information, and it's also just going to be too tight to add any kind of dimensions or anything like that here. So I do want to scale that back to the previous one. I'll go ahead and move that and center it. Hey, I thought that scaled down. There we go. And I'll just center that as much as possible. So on here you see I still have these elevation tags that are just kind of hanging out in my drawing, which we need those to go away. So in order to do that, I'm going to jump back into my site plan. And I'm just going to drag these back off of here. I'll highlight it and drag it back. Always drag it straight back. Don't like do this. It's going to change that view, or like this. Just highlight it and draw it straight back from the view that it was on. So you can just, oops, did the wrong thing. Oops, undo. Highlight all of that and then just pull it straight back. Don't delete it because it's going to make Revit freak out. We can put one back, but it just kind of complicates things for you unnecessarily. Somebody always deletes these by accident. We'll just pull that back like that. Now when I jump back into my sheet, those are off of my drawing. starting to look a little bit better. Here is my drawing tag kind of hanging out here, like looking kind of weird and stuff. So what I want to do is, while it's not active, is when I can move it. It's kind of counterintuitive, but while it's not active, there's no nodes available. I can move that back and forth. Then when I make the drawing active again, that's when those nodes are available. And at this time, I can go ahead and shrink it. So you can see I've done this in different orders. Doesn't matter which order you do it in, as long as you get something done that's kind of like this. So here we have our sheet that's created. What I want to do is also go in the sheet where it says unnamed, and I'm going to change this to site plan. You can also do that up here under your properties. So in either location, you can do that. Now I want to put a couple of dimensions on here, so I'm going to jump out of here and go back to my site plan itself. When we want to add dimensions, we want to go to, go away thing. We want to go to our annotate tab. We always want to use our aligned dimensions. And we're just going to click on, oops, it's on that line to here. I just start laying these guys out. Should not have picked an angle one to show y'all. I'll just leave it like that. I'll go back into my site plan. And the best thing is just kind of keep going back and forward to get these to line up the way you want to. Or if you jump into the drawing and make it active, you can move that as well. And jump outside. But we'll talk about this a little bit more under next class. But here we're starting to look like a better sheet. And then also if we have setbacks or anything, you can dimension it from this view as well. So the dimensioning takes place within the actual floor plan itself, not on the sheet. If we go to level 2 or level 1, notice that those dimensions didn't show up. They are specific to our site level, and they do populate in the sheet within when we change that. That's just the basic site sheeting, how to create that. What I would suggest that you do for next class, when you actually to be submitted for this Saturday, was go ahead and create your site, lay out this information here, make sure that's done correctly as far as removing that from the inside of the house. Don't worry about push A for this week and start creating your sheets. You can go ahead and jump into sheets and just create a few at a time. And then I'll go ahead and lay out that information for you in an email in your files, telling you what actually is going to need to be created within your final set of drawings for this project, for your midterm project. Let's see. So if I did want to make another sheet here, I could just go ahead and drop in a couple of sheets and just do another one. So I've got all my sheets ready. A couple of the sheets, if you do want to start working ahead, that we'll be using. We'll be creating a title sheet, which is a G101. We'll be doing a site plan, which is an A101. We'll be doing our architectural floor plans, A201. We'll be doing building elevations. So on building elevations, we're going to use all 4 elevations, north, south, east, west, and we'll just put 1 per sheet. As we get through these larger sheets, you can use multiple elevations, but just for practice, we're going to use individual sheets. So say for your north elevation, that would be an A301. Your south elevation would be A302, A303, A304 for your east and west, numerically like that. We'll do an A401 with your roof plan. And that's the only ones we'll be doing on this project for the midterm. When we get to the final, we'll be having a lot more sheets involved with that. But just to get started, we'll just do that number of sheets. And I'll put that, hopefully you write that down. And if not, I'll go ahead and I'll get that dropped in the file, in your midterm file on Canvas when I get a chance. Hopefully
Will
later.
the midterm and final be timed?
Yes. Yeah. Just like a regular midterm and final, in class, they will be timed. Any other questions for today, y'all? Okay, please make sure that you get your assignments turned in by this Saturday. If you have some old ones you haven't turned in yet, go ahead and do that. Make sure this one gets turned in by this Saturday too. I'll have a chance to go through those on Sunday and get those grades back to you. Next week, what we'll probably be doing is we'll be just talking about this a little bit more, and I'll be taking time out to hopefully work with each and every one of y'all to see how your drawings are doing. We'll organize that next week, and that way you can have everything turned in by the 28th. If you've got any issues in the meantime, if you're having any problems, remember you can text me at any time, and well, not at 1 in the morning, but any reasonable time, and I'll see if I can jump on the computer and help you at that time. Unless there's any other questions, that'll be it for today, and I'll get this posted by this afternoon. All right, thanks everybody. Y'all have a good week.
You too.
Thanks.